Welcome, everybody, to another episode of From a Certain Point Askew. I am the Angry Ginger inside Wookie Poo Studios, and I am going to introduce the two co-hosts. So, with those two and myself, there's three of us. Neighbor Cole from Corellia.
How you doing, Jason?
How are you?
The Angry Ginger.
You are inside of Wookie Poo Studios.
All up in here, just chilling, hanging out, enjoying the ambiance and this beautiful new piece of technology we have in front of us.
Right, we have a brand new board, so if it sounds different to you, I hope it's a good sound different.
Looks like it's straight off of a factory from some sort of planet.
Yeah, pick a Star Wars planet.
I was going to say Corellia, but you already said it.
Right, and that's the only one you know because that's where you're from. You're a farm boy who's never been anywhere.
I'm a xenophobe. I don't leave Corellia. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, Jason. And we do have a third micer coming in hot off the Skype lines who sounds very, very beautiful. He's got a great voice. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Misa okay, Kosa. Misa okay.
Just that like hurts. That hurts deep inside my soul.
Is it the you've had to relive moments with Jar Jar this season?
Oh, we'll get into that.
Yeah,
definitely. We're gonna talk gripes. I got gripes for you.
It was that, or I was gonna try to do Zero Hut, but he's a little tougher to pull off. But
I've got to complain about Zero the Hutt, and I will get to that, I guess, when we're going to discuss the first season of the Clone Wars in this episode. So that's the bulk of the show. So button your pants. Get ready for this. Buckle up. Button your pants and buckle up.
Safety first.
I feel like I've never podcasted before. It's all new to me.
It's the new board. It's throwing you off.
It is.
If people want to go find anything out about our podcast or all of our stuff from the past, go to FromACertainPointAskew.com, and on Twitter you can find us at FACPApod. Oh, and you can also email us the show at factpapod@gmail.com.
So here's my question of the week. We don't have one, so I'll just throw it on here, and this will get us into this season. We've got some news we're going to cover first, but seeing how we're covering the first season of the Clone Wars, worst villain in the season one so far.
Ooh, let me think, Matt.
Or most annoying, like what one was just like, really? That's a villain?
Well, I mean, Zero is pretty bad. Oh God, I mean, I don't know. The thing we'll get into, I think, when we get into gripes too, is the incompetence level of the Separatists, and at least in the first half of the season, is pretty frustrating. It's like, you guys are a fucking joke.
Well, I struggled with that a little bit, and then it hit me. I'm like, we're watching a cartoon with kids, and there has to be like that formula of, oh, drats, they won again. We'll get you next time. It was a lot of that the first half of the season.
So I would have to. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was going to say, then as the season goes on, they kind of realize, okay, we need to show these people actually putting up a fight so that it like the stakes are higher.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes we can lose, or shit goes down.
See, the only villain I kind of actually like is Ventress. Like, she's cool.
Very.
She's always got this. I don't know if this is just me being a pervert, but she's got this sexuality about her.
There's in the last
there's a thing between her and Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah, and she disrobes, and the camera follows it down, and you watch the hourglass figure, and even I was like, that's a little sexual.
That's a little peek inside of Filoni's fantasies, I think, is what that is. But every other villain, the fucking stupid
We've got an episode title, Filoni's Fantasies.
The stupid one that's got the deep voice and the he has to adjust his little chest piece.
The guy in the last season, like the season 3 wrap-up?
Yeah. He refuses to ban the city. And then every viceroy that's on there, I hate every single one of them. They're annoying to me. And then old boy from Rebels, the smuggler, who's got the weathered out face.
Hondo.
Yeah. Hondo, yep. Mm-hmm. He is, I hate him with a passion too. I could kill all of those guys with my lightsaber that Dave crafted me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's some work to be done. I think that's and we'll get into our overall thoughts, but this is the early days, and I'm looking forward to it progressing and getting better, because it's certainly a little bit rough at times.
I guess before we get into the news, I'll make this comment. Does anyone find, out of all the characters, like Anakin, like the way he looks, there's something about him?
It's his nose.
Is it? It's like looking at an old creepy wooden doll or something. Like, is there a fear of CGI characters? Because I could be borderline just looking at Anakin. Like, I won't watch the show in the dark.
Well, I think him and Padme both, I struggle with their look. I don't know what it is, but they don't. And he's just so wooden as a character. Like, they took him from being wooden in the movies, from my opinion, to animation. It was like, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, and then the forced love story between those two. There's one episode where they get really into it, and he's playing like it's like a teenage love. oh, so you don't want me to do that? I'm like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. I hate this. Like, just stop with this stupid nonsense.
I watched almost all of this in 2 days.
Oh, wow. You really burned through them.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I've seen like the first half before, but it was one of those where like, I don't remember what the fuck was going on. So I 10-second skip, 10-second watch, caught up to those. I was putting in the notes, and then the rest of the season I watched yesterday and today, just like walking around the house, playing it, doing something. Like just, I've seen it all though. I got it in.
There's a lot. It's pretty dense with stuff and characters and things that, it does a great setup for other things we're going to see later in this series and in other series. So that's kind of the way I looked at it the whole time. Was it's almost like it felt a little bit like homework, but it was stuff I didn't mind because it set up all this other stuff.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah, and it was increasing. I liked it because it was increasing my Star Wars geek knowledge, right? We're going up by a percentage every week here, and like we're at 41% now.
We'll never leave it.
It's if you can power through the first half, like more particularly the first half, the second part of this, like the last 3 or 4 episodes, I was kind of like, okay, I'm getting into this.
Yeah.
Like Cad Bane shows up.
Cool character.
Awesome. He's a real cool character. Like he's also got an annoying voice, but you don't mind it so much. And he's also got that gunslinger vibe to him a little bit.
Oh, he was like Clint Eastwood.
Boba Fett a little bit with Wild West type of mentality. And wasn't he chewing on something, a toothpick at one point in time? I think I caught that. He had a little toothpick in his mouth.
Did he?
God, I don't know, but it fits the character.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. He always reminds me of the character from Mortal Kombat 2 with that big sombrero hat. What's his name? Not Liu Kang, the other one.
I don't remember the names. I've played Mortal Kombat in years. All right, let's go into news and then we'll come back into. We'll break down the show for you. News bumper enters here. Oh wait, we don't have one.
Update notes.
Was that something I was supposed to do?
I think at some point we talked about having bumpers for the different segments, and you had mentioned working on them. But
I commit to things all the time and never do it.
Me too. Mostly women.
We'll sort it out.
Wait, no, I don't.
Fucking figure it out, bud.
All right, so up in the news, we've got Ahsoka, Rebels rumors from Kessel Run Transmissions. Now, I didn't listen to this, but you did.
Yeah, so shout out to them because they get some inside dope, as it were, at different times and share some things out. And so I watched their YouTube clip of this. They were talking about how they had been talking about how there was going to be a Rebel sequel for a long time.
Yep.
Like I think for at least a year they've been talking about this and how they had it confirmed and that it was going on. So apparently what they're saying is that it was pretty far along in production to the point where they had the release date set. I think it was supposed to be last November. And they had done some voice actor recordings and all this kind of stuff. But then essentially what happened was because Mando season 1 was so successful, apparently Favs convinced Filoni, like, you need to bring these characters into live action. So he did. And then I think Filoni still wants to do more with Ahsoka in animation from what they were saying. And that may be the way that her arc like completes in animation. But for now, he was kind of convinced that, we need to do some stuff in live action with her.
Is he taking the story elements from that sequelized series and that will be the Ahsoka show?
I think that's true.
Okay. So
from what they're saying, it sounds like this is going. I think they were calling it the successor series, not the sequel. They use that particular term, but what it likely means is we're going to see Sabine, Thrawn, Ezra, those kind of characters in the Ahsoka series because it's the continuation of that story, which is awesome because that's what I want to see. I'm real excited.
I have a question for you, and I don't know if this was me picking up on something. What's the name of the pilot from Rebels, the female, the Twi'lek? What's her name?
That's Sabine, isn't it?
Hera.
Did Hera's dad show up in this season?
Yes.
That was her dad, right?
Yes.
For the Twi'lek planet one.
Yes,
right.
Technically that's Hera. When the daughter,
the baby,
the girl that's the girl
saying
that
brother, that's her.
Yeah, she looks a little different.
I thought that was her too.
But because I think he only has the one daughter, so I think that's her, and she would have been about that age at that time.
Fucking
She's a cute little thing.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Adorable little toddler.
The other thing I was going to say is that so essentially the plot is going to be what we thought, which is Ahsoka with Sabine searching for Ezra. I think that's meant to be the plot of that series. They also speculated that they think that we may see Hayden Christensen make an appearance in like a Force Ghost situation to Ahsoka. That's something that's possible, which would be really interesting.
That would make sense. It would.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, if they've got him coming in for Kenobi stuff, it makes sense to have him do.
Just stand here. They're gonna do like the Marvel thing, like for all the end credit sequence. They're just gonna shoot all of Hayden's shit on a green screen. All right, just say this, and Hayden's gonna be like 10 years from now. There's gonna be a scene in a TV show. Wow, I did that a while ago.
And then the other thing they just mentioned too that I thought was interesting was they said something about how the Mandalorian, they think the Mandalorian is going to run into 2027, which I was like, whoa, because first of all, that's a lot of seasons depending on how it breaks out. I mean, the next season will be 22.
Yeah.
But also, I keep thinking about this whole like grand event that's supposed to happen between all these series. How's that going to happen if all these other series are shorter? I don't understand how that's all going to tie together.
I know they said that some of the series are intended to be like self-contained limited series, and some will have multiple seasons. So yeah, I don't know how all that links. Speculation is fun, but I'm fine with 2027. Just keep them coming.
No, I'm good with it. It just seems that's pretty far out, to go that long with that series. But like you said, maybe Ahsoka's one season, and then but the culmination of that big event happens later.
Right.
And we just see it later. That's possible. So really good stuff from Kessel Run. The other thing they kind of also from them, actually is from them, was there was a tweet that one of the guys, Noah, sent out saying that Robert Downey Jr. is not Thrawn. And
he's not. And
then he said, but that Lucasfilm had talked to Robert Downey Jr. about a future Star Wars property, and then he deleted the tweet. So everybody's like, well, what does that mean? Did he get told, hey, don't do that? Was it bad information? But the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing makes a ton of sense. One, in the fact that he's not in Marvel anymore. And
Feige is doing his own movie.
Feige's doing his own movie, so that's certainly a possibility. Mm-hmm. Also, he's worked with Favreau forever, so it all makes sense for him to be involved in some way. Mm-hmm. And so there was a lot of speculation about how exactly would they fit him in. Would he be in a movie? I mean, it makes the most sense for him to just be in a movie that like he's a main character.
I agree.
Maybe Robert Downey Jr. should take a little bit of a break. He's already done the Marvel, but he can't have Star Wars too.
He can't act?
No. I don't like it. I don't like him coming over. Keep his Marvel shit, little characters out of my universe.
Stick to your indie films.
Well, don't you think you've had enough, bro? Like you're gonna take the two biggest franchises in the history of history.
You can't have all the limelight.
He's taking up all the shit.
Well, I'm looking forward to the new Lord of the Rings with him in it. That's gonna be cool.
You know what? I would like to see. I'd like to see Downey Jr. come in and be the villain. Do something different. Why be the hero again?
I think he'd be a good villain. I think he could make a hero if he was like kind of almost like a loose cannon guy that's on some system that they have to work with to defeat somebody. Like I could see that. He is not Thrawn at all. His personality, I know he can act, but his personality and the characters he's played in the past does not match that character at all.
Nor do I think he'd want to be that reserved.
Yeah, I picture him as like a fast talking smuggler. You know what I mean? Like quick witted. He's always got that. Oh, I'm ironic thing going on, like easy with the irony. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, almost like a Cobb Vanth type thing. Not exactly like that character, but kind of stumbled into some sort of leadership of people, and he's kind of a weirdo. You know what I mean? I can just see that kind of character.
Yeah, I definitely am not against seeing Robert Downey Jr. in the Star Wars universe, but whoever was dreamcasting him as Thrawn needs to go back to bed.
Yeah, that just doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Turn his eyes red.
Watch, we just made an enemy, like some huge podcast, like we've got millions of followers, and they're gonna descend upon that stupid show.
I crush us.
We will crush you. Yeah,
we could use the views. To be honest,
please hate. Yeah. Please hate. We'll take hate and love. Doesn't matter.
I got no problem fucking going to war with any of you bastards.
The another note that I wanted to mention is that apparently Kevin Feige, the movie he's going to do for Star Wars, they're saying that Michael Waldron guy is going to be a writer on that series or on that movie.
Was he's the showrunner on Loki, right?
Yeah, he's the guy in Loki, and then I think he's also involved in that Doctor Strange series that's coming later. So
he wrote the screenplay to it. Yes.
Oh, is that okay?
Yep. The Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, and so they had asked him about it too, Feige, and they like, are you involved in, other than the movie that you're involved in, that you're, are you involved in any other Star Wars properties? And he said, not at all. So for anybody thinking he's like, because some people were rumoring that he's like involved in all these different things, like, I don't know, the Ahsoka series or all these other series, but apparently he's just focused on this one movie. Yeah,
he said that from the beginning, like when he came in, and the reason he's such a huge Star Wars fan, and I mean, parent company is Disney, they own both, so why not let, maybe the greatest living producer right now handle some Star Wars? But I am surprised he can do all of Marvel and then expand into the series and then still, take a little time for the Star Wars universe. So, man, the guy has got, like, I'd like to see his day, the structure. Like, sorry, you've got 5,000 phone calls today. Okay. Good. You got that?
But he gets up at
Everything's
4:30.
well orchestrated and tied together, though. Yeah.
He gets up at 4:30 as well, I bet.
I apologize for the baby Wookiee that was just born and is barking upstairs.
Well, that's right. And they were also trying to figure out kind of where's his movie, because they've announced there's a movie in 23, 25, 27.
Yeah.
And it could be that this isn't even on that map, but 23 is obviously Rogue Squadron. 25 you would assume is Taika Waititi's project.
Right.
So maybe this Feige thing isn't until 27, which is obviously a long ways off. So, are you guys messing around with the video games at all?
I haven't. I played what was the MMORPG for a while?
EverQuest.
Nope, it was a Star Wars one. Star Wars Galaxies. I believe it was Galaxies. I played, I think, maybe 10 or 15 levels of a character on that at one point in time.
Okay.
It was like the World of Warcraft for Star Wars.
Did you just like the free month? And then you're like, I'm not paying for this.
No, I think I paid for a couple months to do it. I think I fell off after that. I haven't played video games in a long time. I just don't have the time.
Yeah, me too.
I try to make time, and I rarely have time to do it. So I'll do it in like short spurts, because my kids, definitely are all over that stuff.
Right.
But I wanted to say, for you gamers out there, it's exciting news. Basically, LucasArts rebranded itself back to LucasFilm Games, and they're kind of expanding. They've worked exclusively with EA in the past on games like Battlefront and Jedi Fallen Order, which are very good games, by the way. And now they're kind of opening it up. And so it sounds like they're creating some big open world game.
That's what I read. Yeah.
With is it Ubisoft? Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Ubisoft. Yep. Ubisoft. And Massive Entertainment, and who does all the Tom Clancy stuff. And so I think that's going to be pretty sweet. So they're making that game. There's also talk of them they're still talking about doing a sequel to Fallen Order, which is a really good game. They're talking about doing another Battlefront. And
there's an Indiana Jones game coming out too.
And then the Indiana Jones is the other one, because they have a little teaser where it's like kind of panning across a desk, and then all of a sudden you see the hat and the whip.
Yep.
So that's going to be pretty sweet. And it says it's supposed to be an original story. So it's not something, they're not just pulling from like Play Temple of Doom or all the different movies you've seen. It's actually a new story.
And isn't that supposed to come out later this year?
Is it that soon? I didn't see if there was a date on it.
I thought I saw someone on Twitter say something about the date being 2021. Fall of 2021 or something.
Yeah, I heard Robert Downey Jr. is going to voice over all those.
That's where it starts, right there.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, he's Indiana Jones.
Got his hands in the Indiana Jones pie, too.
God, he just won't quit.
Knock it off. RDJ.
Oh, one last thing that I didn't have on the notes. But
well, then you can't talk about it.
I got to throw it in there.
Okay.
So Disney World may be a super spreader site because they stayed open.
Yeah.
But Disneyland is going to be a super vaccination site. Did you see this?
No. I saw that they were canceling their passes. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw just this news bit on it that they're going to basically open themselves up to be like this super vaccination site, which I thought had so many opportunities there, because I'm like, so can you get vaccinated then like immediately go on Space Mountain?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, like as you enter, they stab you.
Right. Or maybe they inject you while you're on the ride. They just like,
or it's like a lottery thing. Like you come to Disney World this weekend, and then just walking around the park, you're waiting in line, and someone comes up and just soap.
They just got needles taped. Needles taped to the turnstiles. So you walk.
They've got him hidden in the ball pit. Yeah. All the kids.
I was gonna say that are the characters. Like Mickey comes up. Oh, yeah. Boom! Right now.
Sounded like Mickey.
Oh man!
Oh my God.
I just love the fact that Disney is just so desperate. They're like, fine, we'll just do the fucking vaccines now. We just want to open our doors.
So how are they doing them? What's the rules?
I didn't get all the details.
Oh,
I just saw the bit about it. I think it's meant to be just because they have this space and this. They could organize it to a point where you could funnel people through.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's a PR aspect there as well, right?
Sure.
Trying to kind of cover their
here
basis.
for families.
They're like, oh, you were a super spreader. Well, you know what? We're going to be a super vaccine center now. We're here to undo the wrongs that we've perpetrated.
Well, good for Disney. Making good movies, saving lives. I'm all right with this. I want to see Mickey fucking chasing someone around with a needle now. Oh, it's my favorite thing. All right, let's get down and dirty with this series.
Let's get it.
Season 1 of the Clone Wars, which I think on the Disney, was it 2009 was the first season? I think I saw the date on that.
2008.
I think it was 2008.
Okay, maybe it was the wrap up was March of 2009. I think on that last episode I noticed. So yeah, we're decade and some change out from this. The animation definitely, like if you look at the animation from this and then the last episode, there is a drastic change. But still, like overall, like it's still. it's still good to look at. There's a lot of I think they did a great job with it. There's some wooden shit at the beginning. Now Matt and I, we watched the Clone Wars movie before we went into the season. Did you ever pick up on that, or did you just like?
I'm halfway through. I got halfway through it. It's the baby Hutt they're rescuing, right?
Yep.
And that was kind of. Was that before or after season 1?
Well, it kind of takes place in the middle because if you watch, it was like episode 18.
Matt's got something to say.
Oh,
no,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that this is gonna get Cole in trouble because we're dealing with timeline things. So there is a chronological, even on the Star Wars site, there is a chronological order they provide of the way you could watch this show in sequence. Because what happens is, like, I think the first episode you're supposed to watch of the entire thing is going to be an episode halfway through the next season.
Yes.
And then it's the one, the hidden enemy one from this season. Because what you realize when you watch that hidden enemy one, the one where Slick goes, is doing bad deeds, the clone trooper, that's before the movie.
It takes place just before the movie. Yep.
Yeah. So then the movie happens, and then you jump into, then there's a couple episodes from season 3 apparently that are going to be early on as well, and then it kind of goes in order a little bit after that. But they do a lot of jumping around and don't really explain it at all. You just kind of know that it's happening.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hate it. I hate that.
Well, because some of them are just like these standalone stories, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, at least they're looking at like in the overall picture, but you all of a sudden, because you've seen, like, we watched the movie, we've watched half a season, and all of a sudden you're back on this planet. You're like, hey, they just had a war there, and it's before.
Here's why I hate that. This is what pisses me off, because I read a lot. I read a lot of fantasy books, and there's a lot of series that I read. So I always do my due diligence and research before I start my next book to make sure that this is the next book in the series, because they do that shit. They'll jump around worlds. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I read book 17. What is book 18? And I want to make sure, because you'll start reading a book and it'll be like 15 years. There'll be a preface.
Yes, preface.
Good Lord. Too much coffee. And it'll throw you off. But so, like, it'll throw me off. I'm like, well, I don't remember hearing about this. Did I miss something? What did I miss? And I've got this, like, fucking anxiety.
So something's in the back of your head, like, driving you crazy?
I'm rarely a completionist on anything. But, like, if it comes to, like, a movie series or a book series, if I go out of order, there's, like, a fear that I'm going to learn something that I'm not supposed to learn, and it's going to ruin the entire thing for me. So I hate that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the time jumps are a little confusing. It's not overwhelmingly bad, but it certainly is noticeable when you see stuff like that happen. All of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, we've already done this battle. Oh, because this is the beginning that was a prelude to what we saw already.
Or a preface, if you will.
Or a preface. Yeah.
That was my favorite villain of the season.
Letters have meaning.
Preface?
Yeah.
I was going to make a note when he said I'm rarely a completionist, and I was like, oh, there was a that's what she said joke there, but I didn't.
Oh yeah, no, that's the opposite. I complete too often, too fast,
too early.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Done.
Look at me. No, I did pick up on the nickname Snips out of the movie. So I got that. Like,
what is the origin of that?
Snips. She was. He called her Snips because she was like being snippy with him.
Okay,
she called him Sky Guy.
Yes.
And he's like, easy Snips, or why are you being so snippy? And then he started calling her Snips.
Okay.
And that's another thing. I hate that, too. I hate that fucking nickname.
Gotta have a nickname for your Padawan.
You don't call your fucking... Well, they got that informal Padawan-master relationship, like where she calls him Sky Guy, and they're like, they go back and forth.
They're buds.
They're buddies. It's like, I don't know, but they don't... I don't know. And Ahsoka, her character, come on. Like, she's such a badass in The Mandalorian.
And she comes on real strong, like, from the get-go.
She's just got this teen angst type thing that that Anakin had, and then she's got this I'm just a big idiot all the time. Like, she does that all the time. Like, oh, I just don't know, Master. Ooh. Like, so stupid.
She's only 14.
I get it,
So
but
she's
still a
young.
youngling.
A gripe real quick here is when all of these grown-ass men, soldiers who's been to war, is listening to a 14-year-old, all right, General, Commander, where are we going? And I'm like, really?
Well, they call her Sir. I love that.
Yeah.
Just Sir.
Yeah.
Oh, and when I was 14, Matt, I had a full-time job, okay? So don't even start.
So you could have led an army.
Stop defending her.
I was working in the factory already. I do like, one of the things I really like about this show, though, is the window into all these different characters. So I mentioned it before, is how you're getting introduced to all these people we see later that we know in different series, live action or otherwise. But I love that you you kind of bounce around a little bit. So it's not just the Anakin Kenobi show or Ahsoka show. They get into all these other characters. And one of the main things I like is the fact that they focus a lot on the clones. So they really humanize the clones.
Yes.
And you get to see kind of how they're, they're not all the same. They're a bit different. They have different kind of thoughts and aspirations or whatever. And some of those episodes I really enjoyed, like that one, the rookie episode where they're all in that remote base.
Yes, I like that one.
That was kind of interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to, I don't know, I always kind of think that there's an origin story behind all their nicknames. Like there's Oddball, Slick, what's the other one? There's just Cody and Rex, of course.
Yeah.
But,
Fives.
Fives. They've all got these little nicknames. It's like this little subculture, like a little brotherhood, if you will.
Right.
Like they're like a little miniature police department, right? They've all got these little inside jokes that they don't necessarily explain to their leaders, like the Jedi leaders, right?
It gives you like the idea as a viewer, though, that these characters have been around a while. Yeah. There's a past to them, so they're well-rounded characters. And
it really paints light to during the movie, episode 2, Attack of the Clones, the actual movie. Like when you see them execute Order 66, I'm watching this whole Clone Wars series and watching all this background and this bonding and this. They almost love each other, like they're a family, and then they just go off and fucking kill all these Jedi.
Kill shot.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Spoiler alert!
I can't believe that happens. It just really humanizes them. It humanizes their relationship. It shows a big depth of character in the whole story.
And also so many treaties. It almost felt like a giant game of Risk. Like they were like trying to win over certain properties because both sides, Separatists and the Republic, were trying to like get as many systems on their side as they possibly could.
So the overall, I think, plot of this season is, trying recruitment for each other's sides. And, so there was silly, like the first episode with Yoda, where, I'll follow you if Yoda's not as good as 1,000 of your clone troopers or your robot troopers.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, he's better than 10,000. Little Ninja Yoda running around just like slaying people left and right.
Yeah, it gets a bit Game of Thrones-ish with the politics, right? And then so in the movie, the first half of the movie, they talk about Jabba. They're trying to rescue what's his name? The baby Hutt. It's not
Rhoda?
Zero.
Rhoda, I think.
Was it Rhoda?
I think that's the name.
Whatever.
Rotta. Rhoda.
Okay. But I didn't picture. I knew Jabba was a crime lord, but I didn't think he controlled the trade routes in the Outer Rim.
The Hutts. I
knew the Hutts were big.
Yeah.
So maybe as an offshoot of the Hutt cartel, right?
Right. Yeah.
So he's like, we need to. But then in that movie, if we can switch gears, Count Dooku just fucking totally pulls the wool over Jabba. I'm like, Jabba's a fucking badass gangster. He knows when you're trying to double cross him.
Yeah.
And then Count Dooku's just like, they're coming back here to kill you. And they've already killed your son. And I'm like, there's so many holes in that story. Like just because you talked to Ventress on the hologram in front of him.
Yeah.
You're supposed to trick Jabba. Like Jabba didn't fall for the Jedi mind trick. He's got a good brain in his head.
Well, I think to me, they're really trying to build up Dooku as because right now we're just seeing the Emperor as the senator. And he's pulling strings a little bit because you keep seeing throughout the season him talking to Dooku on the side, but really Dooku is is led to believe is the one who's building this uprising. He is the big bad that everyone is at least aware of.
Yeah, and there's a point where Yoda even says something, or he kind of alludes to the fact that he's wondering how Dooku keeps kind of getting ahead of them on stuff. So he's in his brain, he's trying to think what's going on? How does he have this information? So again, he still doesn't really see it coming when the Emperor emerges later on because the Jedi were kind of blind.
It's too cloudy.
Have you guys started watching season 2 at all?
No.
How about
Not yet.
Matt? Okay, so I'm calling. So this is probably a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I'm calling something, and I think this is what's going to happen in episode 2. Right?
Season 2.
I'm sorry, season 2. Thank you. The bounty hunter at the end that shows him
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane, great character.
Getting shot, right, and falling off that balcony by one of the clone troopers, and then they leave the ship on the shuttle, and Anakin's like, I still sense Bane. But he's dead. I watched him die, and he's got the hologram. He swapped armor with one of those fucking Clone Wars clone guys, right? Is that what you guys are picking up on?
So that didn't happen in season 1. Season 1, he jumps on that cruiser and they're just
That's what I was
taking
going to
off.
say. I didn't see him get shot.
Okay, never mind. I watched 2 episodes of season 2.
Oh, so you're Jesus Christ.
Stop jumping ahead. No, this is exactly why I didn't. Because I was like, I'm just going to go to season 1 end because I know I'm going to do that. I'm going to start thinking about other
Spoiler
stuff.
alert.
Hey, heads up, guys.
God.
That's a good episode, though.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
okay.
that. I'll tell you that.
Well, I have something to look forward to.
Yeah, Matt, just cut that out and put elevator music in for the listeners. Thank you.
But like I told you, Cole, when you asked, I mean, I might as well watch the movie just because you get a little bit more of the fact that you get the introduction of Ahsoka and you understand how she came to be the Padawan of Anakin is useful. But for the most part, the movie was a little bit rough. And I think they even said that it was meant to be like the first few episodes of the season and they turned it into a movie.
Correct. Like it was like a last minute decision, I think, was when they did it.
Yeah,
it was more of a marketing ploy to, hey, we've got the series coming out, and they just took 3 episodes and made him a movie and put it out, and it didn't.
Yeah.
If I recall, it was like 15 million is all it made in the theaters.
It did not do well, and I to this day I've had this conversation several times with this guy on my hockey team who, like, that was the moment that Star Wars betrayed him. He's like, I went to the Clone Wars animated movie thinking, I was still bought in. He's like, and I watched that and I was just like, fuck this.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And he's been like soured on Star Wars ever since.
So you're a numbers guy. So U.S. viewers in millions. I'm looking at just the Wikipedia breakdown of season episode by episode. 3.99 million, 4.92. That's episode 1 and 2 of the Clone Wars. Is that good? Bad?
For TV? Yeah, because it aired on Disney, right? At Disney XD?
Did it start there or did it start on the Cartoon Network?
Oh, God.
And then it goes into mid-2s, and then the finale, season episode 22, Hostage Crisis, 3.29 million.
For like an animation back then, I would say that's pretty good viewership.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
Good
is.
numbers.
It's getting more skewed now because of the fact that the way stuff is and the fact there's so many streaming services,
Right.
It's like so hard to gauge that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Season 3 really takes a hit. I'm looking at these numbers. They're in the 1.5s, 1.9s, 1.3.
I've only heard that it gets better as it goes,
Mhm.
which I'm kind of fingers crossed about because, like I said, there were some rough spots, but you did feel it get better as the season went on. So that was why I was hopeful for season 2 and beyond. The other thing I noticed for us, and as far as our homework and our research going into these episodes, is I think the first 4 seasons are 22 episodes, and then it gets shorter. 5,
really?
6, 7 are shorter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking right here, and then the last episode of the last season, they're
Is
at
it
7.24 million viewers. Like they're it's just steadily climbing. Like there's a few dips or whatever.
Mhm.
They're in the 5 millions in season 6. But yeah, it looks like there's only 10 to 12 episodes.
So is the last
of those.
season the 7th season?
Season 7,
Yes.
the final season.
Yeah, I was say
was
there's
supposed to be
probably
really
no
good.
numbers on that because that's Disney.
Oh, that's this year.
That's Disney. That was Disney Plus, but supposedly it was massive.
Okay. Well, it
Yeah.
was supposed to be awesome.
Yep.
I mean, it's all Siege of Mandalore and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So pretty sweet stuff.
Let's
Do
go.
you want to kind of whip through? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like overall, okay, so the season is basically like you said, it's like Risk, it's like a chess game. It's Dooku moving his places. Some of the annoying things were, Grievous, don't you fail me, Ventress, don't you fail me. Every fucking episode they do, but he's trying to, build, his army. He's always trying to do something to the Republic. They're trying to build their sides. They're always like in the middle of some little skirmish. Some of the best episodes are the single standalones. I love the episode where it was Layer of Grievous, the 10th episode, which it kind of does a little bit of backstory about what Grievous was before he turned himself into this droid, to live on or whatever. I would like to see even more of that, to answer an email later. But the Jedi in that, what was his name, Master Kit Fisto. He was, he was like green. He had like the long tendrils, like the dreadlocks or whatever.
Yeah.
He was just a badass character. I want to see more of him.
And you know who else I was happy to see die was his little Padawan, Nadar Veb.
Is it Trap?
His name is. That guy, he thought he was the best Jedi in the world. I'll kick him by myself. Like
They really missed an opportunity there when they walked into that lair for that character.
Yes,
to say,
they did.
It's a trap.
we should be writing these shows. Come on.
But the Kit Fisto thing's funny too, because you see him in Attack of the Clones, and then because he's on the Battle of Geonosis, and then you see him also in the third one. He's one of the guys who goes with Mace to get Palps and gets killed way too easily. Like when you're watching this episode, you're like, he's badass.
Yeah.
In episode 3, fucking.
I never understood that. Like, why? How did he kill those first 3 Jedi so fast? Like, how were they taken down so easy? It's 4-on-1. How did he kill those first three? Like he just catches two of them by surprise with like a jab to the stomach.
What were we talking about?
When
in the Revenge of the Sith, when Palps wipes out those dudes when he's fighting with
there's
Mace
4 Jedi, they go in there to take him down. He kills the first 3 like within the first 30 seconds.
This is like a sneak attack. It's like
it's way too easy.
Sure.
It's one of those where it's like, did he do some sort of force thing to like put them in slow motion? Because he is just wiping them in like with no trouble at all.
He had his lightsaber up his sleeve. I never saw that coming. Totally caught him off guard.
But I did like Kit Fisto's. Cool.
Yeah, he was awesome. And like I was annoyed a little bit when they bring in, because every time they bring in Padme, they bring in Jar Jar. But it plays well to like the first episode, episode 1 to episode 2. You get like they connect the dots good enough with those characters, but at times it was like I was happy to stay away from them a little bit. Yes. I liked some of the other things that were going on with some of the other characters, like you had mentioned. But I know they're trying to, overall story is we have to get back to Padme, Anakin, Obi-Wan, what happens in the movies soon enough. But
yeah, I mean the main reason why Anakin turns the dark side is because of his obsession with Padme. So they have to show that. They have to continue to build that, even though I agree that cringy stuff they were doing where he's like, all I care about is you. Here's my lightsaber. I can turn it in right now.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff is just it's tough to watch, but I understand why they're including it, just because it's all part of his march toward turning.
Yeah, that was the last episode, Hostage Crisis, and I wrote in the notes, a horny Anakin wants to make the marriage official in a biblical way.
He's literally trying to give her his lightsaber.
Yeah, I know. And he's like, well, you don't want it right now? And all of a sudden they start like go to make out, and I go, ugh, like I'm fucking 10. I didn't want to see that shit.
Wrap that thing up, Anakin.
What? I'm not important to you? Well, you are, but this is important too.
Like
it was like, tell me, like, as a man, you've not been in that position though. You're just like, you just want to get laid. What? You want to do this right now?
I will say with all confidence, I have never fucking ever used that line. Like that seems so.
Well, not that line, but like that type
mentality?
of. Yeah, where like you just like they're trying to do something else, and you're like, am I the only one here that's like, wow, right. Oh no, I can't be shut down, fools.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
This feels like
your question.
Oh, never mind.
One of the things I was going to say too about I like seeing all these different Jedi and getting way more deep into their stories, like the Plo Koon guy.
Yeah.
Very cool guy. He's in Solo, character. Right?
He is in. Is he in Solo?
Isn't he?
I've seen him in a cockpit a couple times. I think you see him die in.
No, because there's no Jedis in Solo. But I'm confusing him with someone else.
He's the one that's got like the breathing apparatus.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And he's got like
he gets killed in Order 66 because this guy's like drop behind him and shoot him from behind.
Yep.
But he, I believe he's Filoni's favorite character. Like, okay. I think he's got all these Plo Koon guys in his office and shit, and people always make fun of him because that's like his guy.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure yeah.
He was in the episode where they're trapped in the space pods, and then the droid army is coming out to like just cut into them and to destroy them.
Yeah, it's where they're aware of a new weapon, but no one's witnessed it because they leave no witnesses, and then a couple of the clones and Plo Koon survive in an escape pod. So they have to be rescued.
That's the Malevolence. Malevolence ship that has the ion cannon on it.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. That whole sequence was pretty cool. That's what helped a little bit early on, because everything else was a bit rough. I did like that sequence where they were trying to destroy that, and then it went into Rookies, which like I said was really good. I like the way that they showed all those clone troopers on that outpost, having to kind of give up for the cause. I like that plot. They're like, we're trying to set up something close to Kamino so we can destroy it so they can't make any more clones.
Right.
That was a good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like Dooku. Like as a villain, I think that I like the way they're fleshing him out more than what we saw in the movies. They do a really good job with that. Also, it's funny that they both Anakin and Dooku have apprentices, but you weren't aware of any of this in the movies.
Yeah, and they culminate in that one episode where Hondo takes them all, captures them all, like takes them all, and they got to work together to escape the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That was hilarious.
That was a good episode.
It felt at times like it was like three guys in a cow costume, like trying to work together to try to, you know what I mean?
Who's the head and who's the ass?
Exactly. They were all confused. They were kind of bumping into each other.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that Hondo character, he's a real piece of shit, isn't he? Like, I don't like him.
Yeah, but he seems like he's much more of a piece of shit in this than he was in Rebels.
Yes.
Yeah, Rebels, he's more friendly.
He's kind of laid back.
Kind of
Yeah,
guy.
you know,
Yeah.
plays the game a little bit with Ezra. Like,
Well, and I think that's with that and it's a lot of the bounty hunters. They're out for themselves. Like they don't serve either side in some sort of greater cause. They're just really all about their own pockets or whatever, their own mission. So it's good to see that kind of thing as a kind of sidecar to the actual battle of good versus evil.
What did you guys think of the episode, the Blue Shadow Virus one, with the doctor, the annoying doctor?
I didn't really
from
care
Phineas
too
and
much,
Ferb?
but that was another episode where, yeah, it was. There was another episode where like Jar Jar's being fucking cute for 5 minutes. They're all trying to figure out like what's going on with the droid and all this, and he's chasing a butterfly around trying to, they're really good on the tongue. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, the slapstickiness of him is always tough to watch, especially because like half the time it just happens to work out.
Right,
and
always.
something good happens.
Yeah.
It's always that kind of stupid
He's the
stuff.
Bugs Bunny of the fucking Star Wars universe.
Well, that he also the comic nature of the or of the droids. They toned it down as they went, but man, early in the season it was all their stupid lines, you know, all the Roger stuff.
Yeah.
But it was so they were so dumb and so incompetent that it was off-putting. Like as far as believing that the Separatists were actually powerful enough to do anything.
Right, yeah, because they're supposed to have this great droid army, you know, and all they are is these bumbling idiots who yell at each other, who don't understand anything. And there's certain, what was it, the one where they were they're walking through, was it the movie? They're walking through the cellars, and he's like, you know, this is a trap. He's like, yeah, the droids, and you can see the droids hiding on the other sides of the wall, and Anakin saying something. Or vice versa. There was one where they were hiding from them. And I'm like, how do robots not have like sensors to know where humans are? Like, you think that'd be one of the first things you put in these fucking things?
Yeah, they're fairly worthless. There's just so many of them. It's all a volume game because they're like, well, we have 1 billion of them. And they all have guns. So
there's no Wi-Fi. Like, they can't communicate without talking stupid fucking jokes to each other.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Separatists. Like, every time you see the rolling blaster droids with the shields, they're like those are the badass ones. There's the sergeant ones that got the shoot out of the right arm, and then there's the stupid little. So why don't you just stop making those ones and just make all rollers? Because every time they show up, it's like, okay, we can't get past their shields.
The Jedis are afraid of those ones.
No, what do we do?
Yeah,
they retreat.
Or hey, here's an idea. As they're rolling, go ahead and get them then. Like, don't wait for them to stop, set up, and put their shields up.
Yeah.
They always do. They're like, oh shit, here they come. Like, no, immediately attack. And then they can't do anything.
Drop some bombs.
Now, I wonder if they get in close enough if their lightsaber will go through that shield.
I don't think so.
Because I know it'll deflect blaster fire, but in my mind, like if you push your lightsaber through, but your hand would probably go through,
did something at one point. Ahsoka did something at one point where she went over the top and like stabbed down on one of those things.
There's 2 different models too. There's some of them that have a 360 ray shield, and then there's some of them that just have that reverse C in front of them.
Right, yeah.
So you get behind those ones, you can kill them, but the other ones...
Poke them right in the ass.
I feel like if you put your arm through the shield, and then turn your lightsaber on, you could kill them that way.
Okay. It'll let the flesh go through.
I just sit there and think tactics nonstop.
I like the Luminara. I like the Luminara character.
She was
remember
cool.
That episode where it was her and Ahsoka, and then they had that guy. So the Senate Commandos are kind of interesting looking. They have this like old like ancient Greek, or Trojan look to them.
Yes, they like Brad Pitt in armor.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. And that one guy double crossed them, and they were able to get stupid Nate Gunray. Newt Gunray.
Nathan Gunray.
But that was a good episode because
that was like part of like a trilogy though. There was like 3 episodes where it was all about Newt Gunray, and I was like, I don't give a damn about you.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that it was a good sequence with Asajj Ventress fighting Luminara and Ahsoka, and so that was pretty cool.
It reminded me of the season finale fight, or close to the season finale fight of Rebels.
Season 2 Rebels, where it's Ahsoka's there and Darth and all that.
No, where God, his name escapes me. Who's the Jedi in Rebels?
Kanan.
Kanan and Ezra fight the Inquisitor played by Jason Isaacs.
Season 1.
Yeah.
It
reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I don't know if you know this, because as I go through these, I always kind of try to pick up on the voices.
Mm-hmm.
So Luminara, do you know who the voice of Luminara is?
No, but sounds very familiar.
Olivia Dabo, who was Kevin's sister on Wonder Years.
Oh, is that who it was? Oh,
It's
wow.
so funny how these people come out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, I guess that's what they've been doing. There's so many voice actors that you just don't,
Wasn't in the movie the one like general on the bad side or whatever? Wasn't that? Oh shit, he's God damn it, he was in Knives Out.
That
No
was you
knocking.
with the,
Yep.
with the knocking on the.
He was in Knives Out, the old guy in Knives Out, and he's also who has the map that gives it to Oscar Isaac in the opening scene of.
Oh yes. Is it that voice? It could have been. It could have been
so.
because the thing is, you look at the voices that were in the movie versus the series, and it's like, oh, they actually got the people like Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
What's his face who plays Dooku?
Samuel Jackson does the voice of his own Mace Windu
just in the movie.
In that movie version.
Yes.
Okay.
The rest of the series is not. And I think in season 7, Samuel Jackson's in that. I think they actually bring in the hard hitters.
Okay.
For season 7 as well. But the rest of it. Did you notice, by the way, that like halfway through the season, all of a sudden Jar Jar was a different voice actor?
I did. I guess now that you say that, yeah. Because I do remember that episode that we were just talking about where he's like trying to lick the butterfly all around. The way that he was like slurring his words sounded different to me.
Yeah, he was a different actor.
Okay.
And so I think Ahmad Best comes back later, but there for some reason this other dude did the voice at that point. I'm not sure why. That was bizarre.
He'll be on next week as a guest. You did a great job, sir.
I think it kind of could come across as cheeseball, but I kind of like the way they start the episodes with the war reel.
I got used to that. I liked it too.
To World War II, and it gives you, instead of them having to do character dialogue as exposition, they just catch you up.
It's almost like the scroll that comes up. It's just dialogue.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
yeah. Like it's like it read like that the thing that's the scroll that comes through at the beginning of the movies.
And then the one general that's always on the one ship. That's his voice, right?
Yes, and he ends up. Yes, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he ends up being. That's what's so funny about watching all this clone stuff is you're watching the good guys and it's all that look of the Empire because they're going to eventually be the Empire. So all the stuff you're seeing as the good guys is going to eventually be the bad guys. So that guy goes on to he's in the room on the Death Star when they're having that roundtable discussion and Darth Force chokes the guy. That guy's in the room.
Oh, wow.
So that character's actually in that. Yeah, he ends up being one of those ISB guys with the white, jackets. Yeah.
In episode 4, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is why I like this so much, is because of the fact that all these characters are explored more and you get a little bit more of a sense of who they are, where they came from.
So I take it he did not stay with the good guys.
It didn't matter as long as the paycheck kept coming in. Yeah, he had a mortgage to pay.
Mercenary.
Yeah,
exactly. No benefits with the rebellion.
Yeah,
that 401k they don't even match.
Nope.
He can also be in the running for one of the best Star Wars mustaches in the universe.
That's true.
He's got a good mustache.
Callback. Yeah,
he does have a mustache.
Never forget.
I thought the Ryloth stuff was good. The that kind of siege and them trying to go in and free the people. And like you said, that's where you do see Hera as a little girl.
And
you see
her dad, Cham Syndulla.
Cham, yes. And you see him in Rebels later. So we'll see him, pop up there. So I thought that the whole sequence was cool. And it was also cool to just see Mace in action because I think that's
what I liked about it too. But it did seem like, I don't know, to me, maybe it's because we've seen enough of these episodes already where they're just like at war on a planet trying to save something. It was like, it didn't seem like it was important to the overall, because we are the end of the season and I'm looking like for this climactic event that's going to carry on over. And really it's, even the last episode was it was cool to see all the bounty hunters. And they were on Coruscant and they had to let Zero go. So they freed him. But overall, I'm like, how does this carry over? What are they pushing for the next season?
Right. And it clearly was the Cad Bane sequence leading into season 2. Yeah. I liked his character. I like the fact that they're throwing all those bounty hunters in there. There's a lot to do there. A lot of IG units running around, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're kind of everywhere.
Yeah. There's a lot of IG throwouts there. So I'm reading the episode 20 description for The Innocence of Ryloth on the Wikipedia page, and it says that Twi'lek girl was named Numa, who had been orphaned by the war. So I don't think
different girl. Different girl. Sorry. So Numa, who by the way is basically Newt from Aliens. Why don't you put her in charge? It was one of those things like they find the girl.
Ripley.
No, because she's the one who helps the clone troopers. But there's a little scene. Hera's barely in it. It's this little scene where she runs up and jumps in his arms she doesn't. I don't even know if she talks.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so she's not the one saying
I
brother.
was-
She is
Yeah.
not the main one. No, sorry,
Okay.
I confused you there.
She was
that is
green
a
as
different
well,
girl.
though. That's why.
She was green.
A couple other character notes. Kenobi is so fucking sassy in this.
It's sassafras.
It's just hilarious to me. But also, he makes a lot of like greater good decisions. He is way not emotional and not attached to anybody, to the point where, like, for instance, when Anakin's like, my fucking droid's gone, and he's like, hey,
Yeah.
he's got secrets in him. You need to kill that motherfucker. Like, you can't have him out there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, kill R2. What are you talking about?
No emotions for a droid.
No.
Yeah, but then
So I just thought it was interesting that Kenobi, like the whole time, he's like, don't let your emotions tie in. Like, we got to make business decisions.
He's a true
decisions here,
Jedi.
you know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the
Yes.
parallel I was going to draw is because then you see Anakin like towards the end of, I want to say it's the episode 22 where he's going back and he's supposed to like, no, this is maybe in the movie where he was supposed to come back and help his clone troops. They were getting overrun, and he had Baby Jabba with
Yeah.
Ahsoka, and he's like, he radios them, I can't come back, guys. I
Yes.
gotta go. And they're like, mission first, we understand. But Obi-Wan would have been like, I'm not even calling him. I'm not gonna even show up.
Yeah.
Wrong phone. Who
Lose
dis?
their number.
No clone troopers fucking reveled in the task of destroying their commander except for fucking Obi-Wan's, because like, this guy's a prick. I hate fucking working for him. Cody had a hard on to blast Obi-Wan the whole time because he just
Oh, but see, that's what I thought was interesting is you can tell there's like a split on where Kenobi's like, Cody's the guy, and Anakin's like, Rex
Rex
is the guy.
is the guy.
They kind of have this weird little favoritism.
They have their
going
favorite clone.
on. Uh-huh.
they should pitch him to the Jedi. Just have this like round robin tournament where they make the clones fight and then they bet on him.
Yoda, I think because he gets so much more dialogue, I think he's going to have more involvement in future seasons than he did in season 1. But when he's on screen and gets a lot more dialogue, the whole sentence structure thing really starts to grate. You know, the whole like saying the last part of the sentence first stuff. It's
okay.
like, oh my God, do you have to do it every sentence?
I
'Cause it's
kind of
really
like
tough.
Yoda in small doses.
Small doses is fine.
Yeah, I don't want like backstory. And like there was a while when they were first gearing up with all these Star Wars movies, there was supposed to be a Star Wars story, and I was like, I don't want the Yoda story. Like I just
Unnecessary. I agree. Oh, and by the way, I'm real into the clones, and I like getting all their story. I like the fact that in the first couple episodes, did you hear what they would say to the clankers right before they'd blast them?
No.
Suck lasers. Whoa, this is a kid's show.
Yeah.
All right, Filoni, let's back off a little bit.
On the Rookies episode, one of them swears when they come out of the grate and they're underneath, and that fucking giant eel comes out or whatever.
Just drops an F-bomb.
Yeah, well, it wasn't an F-bomb. It was damn it or
It would've been great
something.
if
But
it
I was
was.
still like, holy shit, we're on Disney here.
And it was a little bit more violent too. And like
Yeah.
Rebels, you get to you see them getting. It's always like whenever they kill a clone in Rebels, they would always just force push him. You know, and I'm like, slice this motherfucker with your lightsaber.
Yeah,
and
this
show
is
it. I want to see it.
warfare.
Show it.
For sure.
Yeah.
How different would Star Wars be if if it was R-rated like that? Like, you motherfucker, Kenobi! Like, that
Yeah, I want to see that
Yeah,
movie.
you actually see a lightsaber go through someone and like cauterize the wound as it cuts their arm off. Oh my god!
Never mind, feels fine.
The other arm is just spurting
I'm good.
blood. Jesus.
I think like I wrote a couple of things down up at the top here. I had Padme walks into every trap set in the Star Wars universe. Anakin's more wooden than Hayden in the first season. Yeah,
Yes,
which we discussed. The fucking droids and their stupid one-liners. Those are my two big gripes. So we've kind of covered those already.
And I think the animation is fine, but it's not nearly as good as it's going to get. And that's why
Right.
I'm looking forward to it getting better. And then season 2, I mean, I know that Cole's already jumped into it.
Yeah, thanks.
Daisy.
I wonder if Cade survives.
Yeah, I definitely want more Cad. I want more Asajj. I'm actually okay with Hondo because of the fact I can understand why he would annoy you, but his storyline and the fact that he's this pirate that's like off kind of doing his own thing and interfering and meddling with their plans. I think I kind of like that piece of it. And also, I know that in season 2 we get some Mandalore action, so I'm real excited to see some of those plot lines play out. And I think we might even see Boba at some point as a kid.
Who?
I think Boba Fett shows up somewhere, but he's still a boy.
Yes.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Boba Fett.
I've seen because there was a time where we were talking about way long ago during the 7 Days of Geek. and I put that list together of all the Mandalorian stuff, and so I watched a good 6 or 7 out of the 14 or 15 episodes
appearances.
Yes, yeah. So I've seen some of those without seeing other episodes in the seasons because I was purposely going through there, handpicking the episodes to see that story.
Okay. So
yeah, we do see some of that stuff. That's it. I mean, I don't have anything else. I think we kind of covered it for the most part. I think it's his look, but also like I love Grievous. Like I want to know more about him. I love that episode. I love the idea of just like this. I don't even know what the hell he is. That Star Wars book that you and I both bought. There's a whole section page or whatever on him, and there's some stuff about his backstory. He's just kind of an interesting character. I'd like to see more. I know we do see more of him, but more explanation as to why he is what he is. I love that he collects lightsabers.
Yeah. Well, I struggled with Grievous did we not see him till the 3rd one? Or did we see him in Attack of the Clones?
He was a big part of the first half of the season, I thought. Like, they were constantly fighting Grievous.
Yeah.
Then he kind of disappears.
He was being tested so much by Dooku. Mm-hmm. It was hilarious because and also he's dealing with like we talked about, the incompetent droids, and he's just so frustrated by it. Like, you fucks, like, do I have to do everything here? Yeah. And then I love it because eventually shit would break down. He'd be like, you know what? Jump into my ship. I'm out of here. You're not gonna blow up
every time.
Yeah, that got a little old. He kind of like,
it was like Cobra Commander. Every episode of G.I. Joe, retreat, and he fucking take off. Like everybody dies, but Cobra Commander.
He has that one ship that he always just keeps on standby, fueled up and ready to go. He's like, he's gone. Like, okay.
Do you want to get into the mall bag?
Yeah, let's get into the mall bag.
Let's get mall bagged.
I'm a representative of the United States government, authorized by
Order 66.
I'm your postman.
So we have a couple emails. The first one is from Ty from the 2 on 3 podcast. He said, I assume you've all seen this. Now, he sent this clip. Have you seen this video before? It's called Birth of a Monster.
I started watching it, but then it was like 25 minutes long, and I didn't get much into it. But I was like, is this little boy supposed to be Anakin? Like, what's going on here?
No, so it's a crazy fan-made film that they do a really good job, but it tells this whole story. It's about Malakili, who's the guy who ends up being kind of the keeper of the Rancor at Jabba's palace. So that kid is like, well, he kind of has like a C-3PO looking droid with him.
Yes.
But he goes and finds this egg that's been thrown in this cave. And then the thing's born, and he like keeps bringing stuff to feed it and all this kind of shit. And his mom is just a total pain in the ass. So eventually he brings his mom.
Oh, wow.
And so then you like fast forward, and you see Jabba's barge pull up, and all of a sudden you see some of those Gamorreans, and he's like basically showing them like, look at this fucking monster. Isn't this awesome? And then Bib Fortuna comes into the light, and he's like, he's wonderful or whatever. And he's basically saying like, Jabba will pay you and put you up in his palace. It's the origin story.
So it's the origin story of how he gets the Rancor in the trap.
The Rancor pit.
Wow,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It is cool.
So he's the guy in Jedi that when the trapdoor falls on the Rancor, he's the one that's crying.
Yeah, he cries.
Yes.
Yeah,
shirtless dude with a helmet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a from a certain point of view story.
Exactly. And that's kind of what Ty was getting into. He said if they announced a Star Wars anthology series with one-shot episodes for each character, how would the three of you fill those episodes, like 40 to 60-minute episodes? So he said, rank your top 3 characters. Let's assume Will Rowood is getting his own app. You don't have to count him. Basically, what's the war like for mostly non-combatants? And so, yeah, it's definitely along the lines of a certain point of view, those 2 books, which I've read some of the A New Hope stuff. I have not read any of the Empire Strikes Back stuff. But what did you guys have for who you want to see more of?
My first thought was Quill. Like, how did he get where he ended up? Like, so was he one of the was he one of the Ugnaughts from Cloud City? Like, did he end up where he was at from that? So that was my first, like, I'd like to learn his backstory.
Okay.
And he's like super mechanical. So is that just inherent to a trait that's inherent to his race?
Right.
Or is that just something that he like picked up along the way? Like where did that all come from? So I like that story.
You've given that some good thought. I'd watch that.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Jay?
I wrote down, are we just going one for one here? I want a backstory. Now, I've talked about these a little bit, but now, like, looking at this, I I feel like I need a little bit more time to actually delve into like some of these like minutia characters, because that's what they tend to do. They take something that's, you know, off in the background and they make a story out of it, and they always like, oh wow, that's really interesting. Like I like this YouTube thing you said. What's it called? The Birth of a Monster?
The Birth of a Monster.
Yeah, what a great story.
It's really well done.
That's not canon though, right?
No.
Oh no, this is just a fan
film
movie, which is amazing because of some of the characters that they have in it. They look legit. Like it's pretty well done.
I feel like that this is how, like, weren't we watching this on the Galleria? Like the dudes that were the fan club for BB-8, that like didn't they get pulled from like being a droid builders club?
It was the Sphero guys, right?
Yeah.
And they built BB-8.
Yeah, and they were the ones that like, so then like they like see stuff like this and they're like, you know what? You guys got some really good fucking imagination. You want to be writers? Like I feel like that can
That'd be
happen.
fucking awesome.
So you guys just keep your fingers crossed. We keep coming up with wild ass theories.
Hey,
someone's gonna take notice.
Yeah.
You guys should write for us. Okay.
We'll do it. Everything's misspelled.
What?
keep putting beef cargo in there.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
You guys can't even pronounce the names of the characters you created.
We write the script like we talk about the show. That one guy, you know, he was in that one.
I'm 3 fucking seasons ahead, putting shit in. Like, wait, no, Cole, we haven't gotten there yet. He's spoiling things.
So who did you have?
I got Master Fit Kisto. Did I say that right? Kit Fisto. Yeah. Kit, and I say Fit.
Once again,
if you fist him,
Kisto.
If you kiss him or fist him, he goes into a fit.
Go.
He goes into histrionics.
He's a master of both.
Yeah.
No, I think he would be a cool character to explore more. A lot of these Jedi would.
Yeah.
Like how they came from being a youngling and, you know, all brought up into the order and all that kind of stuff. I had my first one is a guy named Tamazander Ray. You would know him as the Hoth deck officer.
Oh, God.
The reason why is because he gets just fucking undressed by Han.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Han comes up.
Why
and
don't you go find out?
He might have come in the south entrance. Why don't you go? Yeah. And you know, the whole time he's like, hey, jerk. I've dedicated my fucking life to this cause, and you just come in late.
I lost a foot to this war.
Yeah, the fucking frostbite on Hoth. He's the first one to defect to the New Order from the fucking rebellion. Fucking
He's
Han.
the one that tells them where they're at.
Yeah. He was the one that gave up the location of the fucking...
now I'm going to make a phone call, motherfucker.
He's the one that gave up the location of the rebel base on Dantooine.
You're going to want to come in from the north. That's where Han is right now with a Jedi.
Why don't you go find out, Han?
He's selecting his tauntaun for Han. Let me find the one that's the weakest. We haven't fed this one in 3 days. Here you go, Han.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that's my first. Did you have others, Cole?
I had the 2 most boring. Just like a fun little twist.
I feel like we need to write these, by the way. Like
the 2 most boring characters in the Star Wars universe that could do an anthology would be Uncle Owen and Aunt Veru. Like just watching them moisture farm.
It's a bad marriage.
It could be that too. Yeah. Like just sitting there like,
why don't you get your own water?
Oh, well, they would have a laugh track like WandaVision. It would just be like everything they say.
Well, episode is he walks in. Well, Veru, the unit on the north side of the field went out. I'm gonna go into Tashi Station and replace it. That's an entire episode, like just an entire fucking 40 minutes. He's just walking in, fixes the part, it comes up. She has some blue punch for him when he comes back to the fucking igloo.
I'd watch this too. Have you seen? I think we talked about this before, but there's a fan film that plays out like a cops episode, and these 2 stormtroopers get called out to like a domestic. And they end up going.
This sounds vaguely. No, was it that, or was it actual spoof that was done on a legit show?
I saw on the internet years ago. It was like back in the AOL days. It took forever to download, Cole, and it was like maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and it ends with like the 2 of them. They go back to the hut or whatever they live in, you know, and it's on fire. So they basically, I think that it ends with you thinking like they killed themselves because they were fighting all the time. Oh, I can't. It's been years since I've seen it. But
I think what I'm confusing with it is, I don't know if you ever used to watch the Ben Stiller show back in the day.
I when it was on, but I don't remember it.
They did like spoofs on cops, like where they're in Salem gathering up witches and stuff. Like they did all these historical things where they're like, hey, and they're acting like modern day cops the way they talk.
Yep.
Oh God, it's so funny. That's what I was confusing it with. Sorry. What else you got?
I've got Cade Bane. Only because that's the first time. Cad. Why do I keep saying Cade?
2 for 2.
It gets in my head and I can't change it. I will not change it.
Veru. Cole just said Aunt Veru, so it's okay.
It's Baru.
It's Buru.
I fucking literally thought it was Baru, but then someone corrected me that it was Varu, and then I saw
Who did?
one of you two, I thought.
Never.
Not on this show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, because we never make mistakes.
It was someone from your fan club.
No,
It was Courtney. Courtney told him it was Veru.
Yeah.
I legitimately, I was gonna say Baru, and then I said Varu, but you know what? I'm fucking looking it up.
It's Baru.
It's Baru. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
I gotta see for myself.
That's all I got. Like I saw him as like a Clint Eastwood type character when I first saw him. I thought, this would be kind of an interesting little, high noon type thing. Take him off to another planet. See how he works on his own. That's all I got.
I'd like to see him in live action somewhere. I think there's a way that they can use him in some fashion. I would love to see them do that.
I don't know if he survives. We'll have to keep going through the seasons.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I had Lor San Tekka. Is that how you say his name? It's the guy you were talking about before. The guy who provides the missing piece of the map to Poe at the beginning of Force Awakens. Because there's not a lot on him, but clearly he's got like a very deep history with Leia and the whole rebellion. So there's a lot to do there. They could do. They could do a whole movie on that.
Agreed.
So I thought he would be fun. Anybody else, Cole?
That's all I had.
That's all you got?
I counted my 2 as 3.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
And Wilro Hood, I think there's something there. Like what was he carrying in that ice cream maker? There's a whole backstory to that. Like it's like, the family jewels or something. Did we did tell this story, didn't we?
We did.
We
talked about it.
Yeah. We okay. All right, we're good.
I think we did. I think
You
we
don't wanna-
expanded on
you
it.
don't
Already told it.
You don't want to know the backstory to your most favorite character from The Mandalorian?
Toro? Fuck no.
You sure?
There's no.
Why did
there's
he
no
become?
interest
He was just trying to feed his family.
there. Yeah, could you imagine that kid as a teenager? Just a little fucking whiner. Did you have any others, Jay?
I feel like he grew up rich. Like he was a rich kid, and he's just like trying to prove himself.
Well, but he probably like kind of shunned his parents. Like, he probably ran away from home because he wasn't getting the love, even though he was actually totally well cared for.
Yep, yeah, it's like good schools.
I'm gonna be a rap artist. Parents pay for studio time.
I just want a mix table, Mom.
we put down $10,000 at that studio.
I'm sorry, I didn't know they didn't rhyme.
Cardboard's free. It comes with every Amazon order. You won't even let me break dance.
I had one more.
Okay.
I had Max Rebo, who is the blue elephant keyboardist.
Yeah.
Who's playing at the Jabba's palace. And the main reason I'm doing this, and by the way, when I'm talking about their music, I'm talking about the non-remastered music. That fucking number that they threw in when they fixed
the whole song and
Return of the
dance.
Jedi. Yeah, I'm talking about the original. Where it's just kind of more low key.
Yeah.
I did not realize this till I looked him up. Do you know what his band name is called? This guy, Max Rebo?
The Rebonauts.
I know of it. I don't know what the name of it off the top of my tongue is, though. Tip of my tongue.
Max Rebo and the Jizz Whalers.
Wow. There's a whole origin story there.
So there's a lot to unpack that we could get into there. So I'm going Max Rebo.
Different name.
What's the initiation to get into that band?
Oh, man.
At least it wasn't sperm whalers. At least they threw some fucking like...
The Jizz Whalers.
Jizz Whalers. Whew.
Oh, my God. I kind of want to be a member of that group.
What was George doing when he named that?
I don't. Yeah, good question.
Man.
Some of these names you have to think that. There's some where you're just like, what?
Right.
Where did that come from? Were these like just fake code names in the set and they just never came up with another name? Like, well, I guess that's what we're going with.
Yeah, bring in the Jizz Whalers.
Well, we know he could be the grip for that. It's the guy in the pink shorts.
Yep.
The grip for the Jizz Whalers?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. This keeps getting better. We do have one more email. Thank you, Tom.
I think we just filled out Filoni's fantasies.
So this question comes from Mike Laybourne. He's got a few questions here. He says, in the last episode, meaning our last episode, Cole's typo declared him to be the galaxy's best snuggler, taking Han's title. But is Han actually the best smuggler in the galaxy? In A New Hope, he fails to deliver to Jabba. In The Force Awakens, he fails to deliver Rathtars. Aside from one load of coaxium, has Han ever successfully smuggled anything?
That's a good point. I mean, I feel like he's got a...
I feel it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta. We've just seen the failures.
Well, I think isn't he referenced as to be Jabba's #1 smuggler at one point. So like after Force Awakens, he talks about the big deal. I'm sorry, not Force Awakens. After Solo, he talks about there's a big gangster on Tatooine.
Yes.
He hears it from Woody Harrelson's character, right? So he goes there. I feel like he has run probably like 100 missions for Jabba before he finally fucking dumps that load of spice. at the
And owes
Imperial
him some
Bar.
money.
Yeah, and messes one up.
In the remastered A New Hope, when they had that stupid scene in the hangar with Jabba that they throw in, remember?
Yep. Where he steps on his
Jabba
tail.
Yes, Jabba says something along those lines of like, "You're the best," and blah blah blah. Like he's alluding to the fact. So he has clearly done a lot of great. This is why there's a lot of room for Solo to do more stuff in live action.
Sure, yeah.
So we could actually see it happen, but they haven't done anything yet. Second question.
So the consensus is he is the best smuggler.
I think we're just seeing we're seeing his worst hits, not his greatest.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's it's not fun to watch him like succeed all the time.
Yeah, right.
Hey, cash my check and go home. Put my feet up. No.
His failures lead to a lot of other interesting plot points. So that's why we only see the failures.
Drama.
Yeah. There's been movement in the video games world with the so we kind of cover this with the return of Lucasfilm Games. Which games, if any, is the team most looking forward to? I would say the Indiana Jones thing sounds pretty sweet. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that. But also, I really want to see if they do a Jedi Fallen Order sequel because that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that game looks fun. I've watched some clips on YouTube of that.
That's good.
I just haven't I don't own any new system to play, but I would play those games, and I like the idea of an open world Star Wars game, but that gets tricky too. You know, if you have to spend 18 hours just to be able to force push something, or that would be a little bit ridiculous.
That's the thing, is the time investment in those kinds of games. Because I remember back in the day when, was it the Knights of the Old Republic or whatever it was, where I remember my brother describing the game to me, and this is so long ago, but he's like, everything almost happens in real time. Like it literally takes you a long time to walk from one side of Mos Eisley to the other. And it's just like, that's all great for realism and everything. But that when it comes to those kind of almost like role-playing type games, it just takes so fucking long to do anything. This is why people lose their minds if their character ever dies, because they're like, I got so many hours invested in this.
Well, they started coming around to that. Like in World of Warcraft, it used to be when you got to level 40, you could buy a mount. Like you could get a horse. And then it moved to like level 70. As the game progressed, now like
faster creatures to get you across, or you can teleport.
Now you can teleport. Like I think they kind of addressed that concern. Everyone's like, I hate fucking walking from Asgard to like, okay, well we'll do that. So now like all these new players that come into the game, like when I was back in the day playing, it was like 40 was the cap, and you had to wait till 40 to get a mount. Now you get a mount at level 10.
Oh, really?
You motherfuckers don't know the grind that I went through, like fucking walking everywhere, doing quests along the way to level up my character and doing dungeons by myself. And
are people still playing that game?
World of Warcraft?
I don't know.
I think so, yeah. It's on like its 12th expansion.
Crazy.
It's insane. Insanity.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole culture there. I assume it's still going. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a teenager's game, right? Like I know adults play that stuff. I just don't know where they find the time. You know, like as a kid, I'd waste hours playing Final Fantasy or Dragon Warrior or whatever. I mean, I'm giving my age here. I'm 43, but I played the RPGs. I'd put hours into it after school until like bedtime or whatever. Didn't think twice of it. Now, if I wasted 2 hours of it, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm behind on everything. You know?
Well, podcasting is your gaming.
Very true. Yeah,
it takes your time.
Yep, and that's why I don't game.
That's how I feel. Like if I wasn't doing podcasts, I probably would have more time to do video games. But I enjoy the podcasting more than the video games.
Quitting the show and taking up 007 GoldenEye again.
You should do it.
I think I'm a professional player.
I mean, if you're gonna invest your time in something, do it right.
This has real dividends coming towards me because I could probably get good enough to
I get a championship.
Yeah. A golden
get some friends to come over.
A golden Nintendo 64 controller mounted into a trophy.
If he does that, will you put a cardboard cutout of Cole in that chair so when you and I record, we can still act like he's there?
And he'll be right, like probably 100% more than I am.
He won't bang the table.
I haven't done it once this episode.
He's got his hands on his legs the whole time.
I have been sitting on my hands.
So the last question is, starting in The Phantom Menace, rekindled in the Clone Wars, and resolved in Rebels, I reckon the Obi-Wan Darth Maul storyline is the best subplot in the whole Skywalker saga. Prove me wrong. I mean, it's a great one. The fact that those two have this like rivalry and fucking hate each other, particularly Darth Maul seems to really hate Kenobi.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? Oh God, I think I retweeted it from our account. It's somebody made this thing where Darth Maul's walking back into his house. It's like just a normal setting. And Kenobi comes up and starts talking shit to him. And he's like, God damn it. And he makes fun of him or something and then leaves. then he goes inside and Ben Kenobi's in there like doing like calisthenics or something in his living room. And he's like, Kenobi! It's so stupid. But it sums up how silly it is that like Maul is just, God damn it, this fucking guy. He's just so dead set
It's
on
like
killing him.
Seinfeld and Newman, you know? It's like,
Yes, exactly that. I'll forward it to you again.
Okay.
It's so dumb and it's only like a minute long, but it makes me crack up.
I mean, I have to agree. There's a lot of like interactions between those two. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a better 1-2 nemesis and rival, I guess.
I mean, I'm aware of it, and I've seen like YouTube videos and stuff. So like even the episodes I haven't seen, like I know the whole story. But I kind of, as we're going through this, I'm looking forward to seeing it all play out.
Yeah, we'll get a lot more of it in Clone Wars, and
Right.
then because I remember all the Rebels interactions, but I don't remember as much with the Clone Wars stuff because I just saw bits. So I'm excited to see how that goes. So I'm not saying you're wrong at all, Mike, because I think you know you could be right on.
But we're only 40% right now, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you would like to email the show and have us answer your questions or address anything, or if you want to make fun of us for the way we pronounce names or screw up plot points or whatever.
It's the way it is, people. Keep listening.
facpapod@gmail.com, and we'll get on that.
I do have to say, like, we've had a few people chime in and be like, when's the next episode coming out? Because we went to every other week. So it's nice that people are waiting for the next one. So,
You're welcome. I've been telling everybody at work.
Yep. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, it's good for now because we don't have anything active as far as, but it also gives us a chance to go through these seasons because they're not short. So we
Right.
need the 2 weeks to get through them, I think.
Exactly. We'll be back next 2 weeks from now with the second season of Clone Wars. So watch it with us. Email the show, and we'll have more questions of the week. And
and find out what happens to Cade Ban
yeah, and Aunt Veru.
and Aunt Veru.
Thanks for listening, everybody. And until next time,
Never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
we have spoken.
Monkey poo.